Hello. Welcome. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how faith and intuition can actually benefit us in our lives. And I was guided to bring this out to you so that you can begin to use it in your own life. Now, let's really look at what's going on because we are in exciting times. And with that excitement of higher creativity, heightened senses, the possibilities are endless if we understand how to use it. And when we live in a place of fear, of dread, or even thinking that karma can come in and affect us, it can alter our ability to connect with faith and intuition. So, what is faith? Faith really is a deep belief that we know without a doubt everything is going to go in our favor. Whatever we're asking for, whatever we're working on, that faith is going to keep us in alignment, right? However, intuition, following your intuition, is making sure that you have picked the right avenue for you. If you have faith in a job, that I'm going to get that job, but it's not the right job for you, you will get the job and everything else that comes with it. So intuition, and we all have an inner psychic. That is intuition, our heightened senses. Some of you are empaths, light workers, but it is in every single person. We're born with intuition. Intuition is our connection directly to source and our connection directly to God. It's our inner self connection, self-love, self-belief, self-confidence. That's what intuition is. And when we tap into all of these together, that's when we can really make some positive changes in our own life. Using these options can help us move through challenges that we face as well. So I was actually guided to share a story with you about my daughter because, we are going through changes. We are going through a little bit of fearful times because we don't know what the outcome is. We're looking at things changing and we're not liking what we're seeing, but we don't know where it's going. And although we have faith oftentimes that that change is going to bring something so much better as it has usually done for most of us, this situation was my youngest daughter, who this was many years ago, and she was in and out of the hospital for 2 years. This young lady was sick in high school. She was going in for a test for this because her gallbladder would expand. Excuse me, and they didn't know what was wrong, so we had to run down, do the test, and then when we did the test was fine. However, we see that her spleen isn't right. Now they want to do a test on the spleen, and it wasn't fake, it was real. Her body was actually doing this. I could see it. She had discoloration around her face. It was affecting her breathing. It was affecting her oxygen flow. So if she sat with her legs crossed, even for not even 5 minutes, you could see her toes would start turning black purple, and she would have it looked like bruises going up her legs. She had gray in her face and around her lips, and so there was a problem going on, and they were trying to fix that. So we were constantly telling her, uncross your legs, right? Uncross your legs, sit up, move, walk, bend over, do this, because we could see it on the outside and she couldn't. And it deeply affected her psychological and her mental welfare as well. Obviously, that would. So, in addition to that, pain. Now, in one situation, we were told she had one of those things explode. Okay, they needed to get blood and they were going to do a test. But in this particular case, it was a test that was actually sounded like it was going to give the right results. Okay, and I could intuitively feel this test is important. This is very important. And if we didn't get it in a certain time frame, we had to wait a really long time to get it. So we went down to the hospital, and she's lying on the bed, and they went to draw her blood. They needed her blood for the test. They tap around, they feel there's a team of about 7 or 8 people in the room, doctors, nurse practitioners, and other people on the team were there to help my daughter and I through this situation. She's lying there, and they would find the right vein, all right, and then they put the needle in, and it was like block, boom, it just stopped. Like a block wall went boom and would not let them connect to draw the blood. So Honestly, it was about 100 times that they poked her over and over again. But it isn't one poke at a time. What they would do is put one needle in and it didn't work. So then they turn it and they turn it and they turn it and they turn it in the same hole. So it was like 5 or 6 or more pokes through that first initial poke. That's what I'm saying. It was so many, it was almost impossible to count. And she's looking at me with fear and terror in her eyes and tears streaming down her face. I say, Mom, I can't do this. Stop. No, Mom, no more, no more, no more. I said, one more, baby, one more. Now, here's why. Because there was a nurse that had encountered a situation like this with her earlier in the other part of the hospital. She wasn't in this team, she was not part of this team. But she did hit a block wall and she was able to get the blood out. There was something about that woman intuitively. I knew she was good. Okay, I'm not calling her a vampire. Okay, I know a lot of you guys do, but she was good at what she did. And I knew she was going to be a benefit for us, but I didn't know how until that moment. Until that moment when they were getting ready, they were going to do some other things, try it 4 or 5 more times, and then call it done. And I said, no, no, you go downstairs and you get that nurse. And they said, she's not on our team. I said, I don't care. You go get that nurse. She's going to be able to do this. And they just looked at me like, who are you? And I said, I am her mother. I am your patient. I am your client. You go get that nurse. So when the nurse came up, she came in and she stood next to me and she put her shoulder next to mine. And she said, what do you want me to do? And I said, I want you to pull the blood from the back of her hand. And all of the other team looked like, what? Because that is really one of the most painful places to have the blood pulled from. But I knew this nurse could do it because all of this wasn't working. Didn't matter where they go. They were doing it in between her toes. They were doing it in her legs. They were doing it everywhere. And I said, you do it right here. And my daughter's like, no. And I said, one more, baby, one more. And the nurse said, okay. She put the needle in, drew the blood out. We were able to have the test done. So there are times when our faith and our ability of intuition, our faith and our connection that we all are born with, it will benefit us through challenging times, no matter what the challenges are, whether that is in a situation, medical situation like that, or in our financial situation, in our own mental and emotional, physical and spiritual well-being. So this is a time that you really want to grab on to understanding more about how to stay connected. It's easy to have faith and say, oh yeah, I have faith. But it doesn't always stay when you're hit with something like that, like a situation like that where your loved one is begging you to stop and you see them and you don't know because they can't breathe and all of these things with their oxygen and you don't see the outcome. I thought I saw the outcome and I was right, and we'll talk about that in some other video, but it's more about the point of following your intuition. Today is the day that you can begin to really connect with the universe, to connect with God, and to connect with your inner self. All of these are going to make amazing decisions, amazing choices, and absolutely positive results in your life. It will help guide you through whatever you're going through. So check out Ascending Empaths podcast, where I talk about using that intuition and using your heightened gifts, whatever they are, to help you help out humanity and even in finding a career that can benefit you in your life. And join us in our next segment where we bring on Diane. I have never brought another person on this show, and I'm very excited to bring her. And we're going to talk about some things that are going to be so inspiring when it comes to karma. Okay, clearing out your karma. We're going to talk about, and I'm putting on a workshop for this, you guys, clearing out your karma, tearing up contracts, and creating a new contract. So have an amazing day. I wish you all much love and much light.